Hello? Hello, world. Brian? Does this mean we're live?
Yep.
Our TVs are... We can't see ourselves.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Whoops.
That's okay. Because this is... What number are we on? I don't even know what episode I'm on.
Like...
Listen, I just do the content, all right? All right, but...
9.
What?
9.
9, okay. I'm going to do that every single show. I'm going to pretend like I forget. And the episode 9 will be the reveal for it.
Suspicious.
So this is mission accomplished, number 9. I'm joined by Knial.
Knial. It's got a silent K, so
I like that. It's cool. Knial. All right. And he's a writer, and we're going to have a fun conversation like we always do on the show about whatever we want and just talk about cool stuff.
Sounds good.
So, hey, man, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Just enjoying this rainy Sunday.
Right. Oh, so it's now, are you from Florida?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm from Missouri, and then I moved all over the place.
That's a sick shirt, by the way.
Yeah,
are you a Floyd fan?
I am. Actually, me and my buddy just went to Barcelona, and we saw Roger Waters live.
No fucking way.
It was awesome.
Dude,
yeah.
I've never seen Roger Waters. I've watched all their videos and stuff online, but like one of my other buddies went to see The Wall live, and he told me he was almost in tears with how fucking incredible it is.
It is that way, yes.
Yeah. Like one of my all-time favorite concerts to watch like on YouTube or whatever is Pink Floyd live in Pompeii. Have you ever seen that?
It's
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like just so cool. Good. Like echoes. Like just that song is just unreal.
Yeah, and in the ruins there, it's just amazing.
Yeah. Using solar power of all things just to power their shit. Like that was fucking nuts.
You know, I saw it back in St. Louis with a girl, and you know, we might have been on some other mind altering substances, but we're sitting there, and it's just, I was not expecting that.
Right?
He built a 240-foot long wall, 70 feet tall. And at the end, he gets the whole crowd. He goes through the whole wall from front to back.
Yeah.
He gets the whole crowd to just start chanting, "Tear down the wall." The whole stadium chanting it, and he points up at the wall, and it all falls down.
That's fucking incredible. You get goosebumps thinking about it. It's just incredible showmanship and like fucking nuts. Like, and you're right. So you write books too, though.
Yeah, I'm.
All right, so tell me about that. What you wrote one, and now you're finishing up another one.
Correct. Last year I came out with Freedom Blues and American Soul. Okay. And it was just an awesome process to go through, actually writing and finishing a book. Okay. And you know, this book, it's about a law student from Missouri.
Nice.
And he decides, you know, I'm not sure if I want to be a lawyer, so he starts heading down, just starts hitchhiking his way down to Florida. Okay. And all of this happened before I moved to Florida, so it's kind of ironic. But he starts moving his way down to Florida, and this guy comes up in this nice car and picks him up and says, you know, I'll take you down to, I can go all the way down to Miami. I know you need to go to Key West, but I'll take you down to Miami. Okay. And super suave guy. He gets in the car with him. He says, but I got to make 3 stops along the way. So they stop at a movie actor's house. They stop at a guitarist house. And they stop at the most beautiful woman in the world's house.
Whoa.
And along the way, these people start mysteriously dying, and he finds out that he's riding with the devil, and the devil's collecting the souls of people who have sold their soul for, you know, beauty, fame, guitar. Yeah.
That is a fucking awesome concept for a book. Holy shit.
It was dope to write. I loved it. Yeah.
That must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Damn. So, oh wow, that sounds really good. And what gave you the idea for it? Just like a little bit of what happened to you, or and a little bit of
there's
just
always
imagination.
A bit of like that put in there, yeah.
Right. So you've been writing for a long time, since you were young.
Yeah, I've been writing since I was
just like that's your go-to hobby.
Yeah.
I watched a movie, like one of my favorite documentaries is a movie called It Might Get Loud. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's a 2008 documentary, and it's about the electric guitar, and it's about Jimmy Page from Zeppelin, The Edge from U2, and Jack White. And the 3 of them come together and they discuss their history with the electric guitar and like what it means for each one of them, and it goes through their lives and how they built up. And in the movie, Jack White has a line where he's talking about like what it means to him to be a musician and stuff, and he's like, you know, any great artist, like what they have to fight is ease of access, you know, or whether he can play all the time, and like that's just what makes him go. You know what I mean? Like, so I always wonder with other art, like if it's the same thing where like, do you just feel like writing all the, like, you know what I mean? Like, is it?
I get it. Yeah.
You know what he's saying there? Like
at times I'll be, you know, I've
like
had
it's
times
your
where I don't
go-to.
have electricity, but I'll be just sitting there. I'll write by whatever I have, a color pencil by candlelight.
Yeah.
It's a way to vent. It's almost therapeutic.
Right.
Way, yeah.
You get your voice out there.
So there's the book, by the way.
Oh,
if you guys want to check it out. Is there a preferred source you'd have people buy it from?
Amazon's always an awesome source, but you can buy it on Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. You can get it anywhere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
What was the process like for getting it published? Because I know that's a big thing in the writing world, is like, a lot of new and upcoming writers, they have problems with that. Like, a lot of people want to write, or they have written things, but they don't know how to get it out there. How was that for you?
Oh, man, it was an experience, and it takes a lot. The first book, I self-published it, and I've been reading about how other people went about self-publishing their books. And
because there's a ton of different strategies, right? Like you can do a lot of different ways.
And I'm reading a book now. I've got someone from HarperCollins that'll check out this next book.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to get a little bit more open with this one.
Yeah. But get your options.
I was literally just running. One time my girlfriend she got mad at me because after the movie theater, I printed off 240 business cards with the book on it, and I see someone walking out. I'm like, they would like my book. And I didn't hold the door open for her, and it hit her on the way out. No. And I went and got them the card, and I was like, I'm an idiot.
No, it happens. You get excited about shit. That's great, though.
Yeah,
that's
but awesome. Anybody and everybody.
Yeah. What's your next book about?
So this next one, after I wrote that first book, I started thinking about okay, where did this devil character come from?
That, that idea, using the devil and inserting these little I don't know, what would you call that canon? I don't want to say it's religious, you know what I mean? It's but it's very cool because it's used in a lot of other art that I like. I'm into a lot of stories that involve angels and demons. I'm a serial TV watcher and a media consumer. I haven't had regular TV since I was probably 13 years old. I illegally pirate every single thing in the world. Yeah. So I'll watch anything without discriminating. Me too. And there's a lot of that's fucking awesome.
I love pop culture all around.
Right? Yeah. So you've got the old shows like Buffy, Angel, then Supernatural. They all have canon dealing with angels and demons. Right. And then you have some of the more serious ones in film and things like that, like older Denzel movies and just tons of fantasy movies about it. There are really cool books written about stuff like that. That whole universe, it's slowly injecting it. Then there's the comics, the Sandman comics. Those are fucking awesome, and they deal with a lot of that type of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know where I was, but anyway.
Well, no, I get it. Yeah, I almost built my own canon. I was a big fan of Quentin Tarantino. That's a big influence of mine. The way he writes his stuff.
Yeah.
And all of his stuff is in the same universe. So I said, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it all the way, and I want to make sure all of my stuff stays in the same universe.
Right.
So this main character, this demon character.
Do you feel like that's a little bit of a little bit of Stephen King style too? He kind of has everything in his yeah. And that's why I think people like it too, because it's always a little continuation off in that world. So you're world building essentially.
Correct. Yeah.
That's fucking great.
And so, but it's not super obvious. You can look at this book and you're like, well, wasn't that character in this last book? Or didn't something like that happen in this last book?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's so good for the reader. Exactly. As I like to read that kind of stuff. That's awesome. All those little threads, that's what draws you into an author. Yeah. Realistically, exactly. That's super cool. So the new one's about what? How's it?
The new one is, I wanted to figure out, well, how would all of this get set up? If there was a religious world, and if all of this did happen, how would it get set up? And the beginning starts with a demon or an angel who says, I don't like the paradise. I want out of this. Okay. And all the other angels are like, well, you're crazy, man. You want out of paradise? This is paradise. Right. And he says, no, I want out. And then God's like, all right, you want out? See you later. And he tosses him out, and the Big Bang happens. And I try to add some element of science to it, as he's going through and seeing the evolution of creatures from crustaceans, plants to crustaceans to amphibians to humans. I didn't want him to be talking to Adam and Eve. I want him to be talking to two monkeys who he hands an apple to, and they eat consciousness.
An element of realism.
Correct. Yeah.
That's super. Oh, nice. That's cool.
And then as he starts to I do add. I grew up Catholic.
I was going to ask you what your history was. Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm familiar with. So I talk about the Tower of Babel and all of that stuff. But, I have to go through the whole history of mankind, even past now to what I think is going to happen in the future. And I just stick to that. But
okay.
It was exciting, right?
So it's this angel's journey through all that.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Have you ever seen a movie called The Man from Earth? So it's it's like an indie film.
It's not the David Bowie one, is it?
No. No, this is about a professor and a bunch of his colleagues in a cabin, and they're just talking. And then the professor reveals to all his friends, because he's moving, like he's leaving the university after 10 years or whatever. And they don't really know why. And then he eventually says, "Oh, it's because I've been alive since like 40,000 years."
Yeah.
And he says he's just lived through multiple ages, and he doesn't age. He doesn't get sick and die. He's just been witnessing history go by.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a perspective like that. Yeah. That's really neat. Like I think people would really identify with that. Like that's a cool concept.
It took a lot of research. I'm not one to just throw stories in there. I'm actually going back and researching this, and I even go down to there's a story about a magician in there. I looked up this guy, this magician that I wanted to use, and how demons got involved and how they're hiding, literally hiding around corners, influencing these people to do crazy things. There was something in about the 1800s called the bullet catch trick.
Yeah. And
this is crazy. This is something by Su Lang or Chung Ling Su. This guy invented the bullet catch trick. He believed he could catch a bullet, and it's crazy. He died,
Okay, yeah.
because he couldn't catch a bullet.
Right.
That's insane.
Wow.
But 8 people have tried this over time. All of them have died.
What?
And eventually, my character Herman the Great, who was a real magician, and he tried to catch a bullet. I explain how something got mixed up, and he was supposed to pretend to catch the bullet, but the bullet got put in, and the demon was involved.
Okay, cool.
But, that's just, I'd try to find things that would fascinate me, be like, man,
and real history. The research part of it must be super fun.
Correct. Yeah, it was.
Documentaries are just, I love learning about stuff. That's and going deep into things, and then that's really cool.
Or Caesar, like that. You go through school and you learn all this stuff.
I actually took Latin in high school.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Caesar and his brother and
all this stuff, all your little exercises when you take Latin are just about that guy. Just little things about the Senate and stuff like that.
Correct, and he gets stabbed to death, and
it's fucking nuts.
It's crazy, man.
So what are your biggest influences, do you think, on your main work?
Actually, we mentioned 2 of them already, Stephen King and definitely Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
I know he's not, you don't think of him as a writer, but he is a writer.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
The way he writes things,
he's a producer. Those works that Tarantino makes, they're all his. You know what I mean? It's all it's you could tell it's by his mind.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, do you know the movie True Romance?
Of course, yeah.
He wrote that to pay for Reservoir Dogs.
Really?
Yeah, Tarantino wrote that, sold the script to somebody else to make it, and then he used that money to pay to make Reservoir Dogs. Yeah,
that's a dope movie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Whenever I was writing this, I think of him, and people say some of my stuff is too gory.
Oh,
it's
really?
Too intense, and I've got this scene in the first one. I'm thinking, okay, if the demon's gonna kill someone, how's he gonna kill someone? And this is funny. The guy, one of the characters, he rapes the dude in the eye.
Okay.
Kills the dude that way. And that's how the demon, because if the demon's going to kill someone, it's going to be super gory, it's going to be super intense.
Demonic.
Yeah, and I've got my grandma reading this book, which is just super embarrassing. But
that's always tough, though, when you go to do something, you find something you're calling or whatever, and then you produce in it, you make your art, or you go on a radio show and your mom sees it, and you're talking about crazy shit. That's just, I think that's normal for everybody to go through, It's
almost kind of, when you feel kind of vulnerable, opening up, that's just what you got to do.
Do you have an agent or manager or anything?
Soon to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did self-publishing.
Yeah, for the first book, and this next one, I'm hoping to get a
deal. Yeah.
A big
That's
publisher.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I would imagine then when you go up to that level, the gore and the violence do you think it would be an issue going forward? Your style, would you ever compromise?
I don't want to go away from what I do.
Where you're comfortable, yeah.
I'm pushed towards my demographic.
I think that might be largely a thing of the past. I feel like people will just produce whatever they want now, because there's clearly a market for almost anything. And with the advent of the internet and this whole new age, I feel like some people might see there be less opportunity in writing, but in another way you could see that there's now infinite opportunity in writing.
Yeah.
You know, like there's just so many ways to do it, and once you get your product out there, if people connect with it, they connect with it. You make your own audience.
Well, you have like, you know, you have a book, you're like, wow, this guy writes okay romance. Or damn, this guy went all in on this super gory like story that has a lot of themes, and I'm really into this book. You know, I would rather have a cult following than a mass following, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have an editor? Do you have somebody? Do you do it yourself?
I had an editor, and there were a few mistakes left in the last book, and I was just so disappointed with those.
No way, really?
Yeah, you know, one of the times I tried to say the tyranny of men. Came out the tranny of men.
Oh no!
You try to put out this is my book. This is my masterpiece. And then someone's like, "Yo, you said tranny of men." Like, oh shit! No. What was that? What the hell?
That's rough. Okay.
Yeah. Well, but this time, you know, you learn things and you move on.
Yeah, that's how it all goes.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, something funny is about Quentin Tarantino. I sent him the first book. I sent him the copy of it, and I tried to make it stick out. So I wrote, "It's from the devil." I didn't even say who it was from.
Yeah.
I just wanted him to be like, "Whoa, this is different. I'm gonna read this one."
Yeah.
Well, 2 months after I sent him that one, he changed his script for Hateful Eight because someone had released it.
Oh.
And, you know, maybe this is me just shooting in the sky and saying, you know, this is my work. But there's a scene in that book where Samuel L. Jackson does that dirty deed to the guy in the snow.
I don't remember. When I watched that movie, it didn't grab me in the first half hour.
It wasn't as superb as his other movies.
It wasn't. And like, you know, I'm the type of person, I watch so much stuff. Like I had it on this screen, and then I'm like playing World of Warcraft on this screen.
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so I don't remember the exact scene. So well, we lost video feed, and we're back. So Samuel L's out there. He fucks someone up in the snow, and you think.
And it's a scene that's just very similar to my book.
What you wrote.
It's like it's even word for word out of there. So, and then you know. I also sent the book to the Coen brothers. I love the Coen brothers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with their work.
I will be if you tell me some of their titles.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah,
Big
okay,
Lebowski.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yep, on it.
Serious Man, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, they also produce a show, 3 seasons of Fargo.
Yes.
And the 3rd season, you know, in my book, the demon's name is Virgil. In their book, the demon's name is Varga. In my book, the guy's name is Edmund. In their book, the guy's name is Emmett. And the same thing is happening. The Virgil character is influencing this guy to sign papers.
Yeah.
And, you know, even, what's his face?
The guy that played him won an award for it.
That's a little
bit of creating your own reality as you? Like, you're putting stuff out there. You're putting stuff out there to important people that have influenced you. And, like, you know, a lot of people would do the same thing. I would do the same thing, you know? And do you feel like then it's coming back to you in the world around you? Like you're starting to see your ideas manifest in other places?
It's possible, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like it's definitely attractiveness. Yes, exactly. It's like almost it seems like it could just be coincidence. You know, it could be or not, or it could be you putting shit out there and it's just coming back to you as validation. Like, hey, you're on the right track.
Or you can do this. Look, there was a guy that won an Emmy.
Yeah, for this. Like you're putting out stuff that's now being mirrored in multi-million-dollar fucking media. Correct. So clearly you're onto something there.
No, I totally understand that. Yeah. I follow the law of attraction.
Right. There's definitely more going on than, you know, most people give reality credit for, I feel like. It's not as random as we think. I feel like we have a lot more control over what's going on and, you know.
I feel like it too. I feel like there's good energy being pushed to me, and if I choose to like open it up,
right,
enter it into me, I can.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I choose to say no, no, I'm pushing it away.
I think Stephen King was onto something in The Shining, like having the shine a little bit. Like,
how so?
Do you ever feel like you can predict, like things happen and you saw it coming, but you didn't voice it or even put it into words in your head? You know, I feel like that all the time. Yeah. I feel like things, you know, like it's like an awkward feeling, like this roundabout, like, man, I almost saw that coming, you know, or like I felt this happening, or, you know, I see this going down this tunnel, and then you can kind of predict little steps along the way.
I totally agree.
You know, I think him as a writer too, like him coming up with that idea is very indicative of how writers think.
Yeah.
You know, like forethought, and like, you know, you wrote a book about a kid living in Missouri who's a law student that goes to Florida.
Right. That's true.
You know, like that's super fascinating to me. Like that really worked out in the same way.
You're right.
Are you a fan of the Dark Tower series?
I am. I was super disappointed by the movie.
Because it was total fucking garbage.
Yeah.
But the books are unreal good. Yes. Like, just so good. Yes. Like, the whole concept of the tower and like how that goes and everything, that's fucking great. Like, oh man, I love that. But yeah, the movie is complete trash.
Yeah, oh my God.
They just fell flat on that one.
They did.
But whatever. It happens.
Yeah, that's a good point. Man, there's something I was just about to talk to you about.
Right, it's tough. This happens to me all the time, and I just, you know, as I do more episodes on air like this, I get better and better at it. But it's tough, you know. Like anything, it takes practice. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and like I consume a lot of news media and things. Are you up to date on things? Do you like? How involved are you with the current?
I'm a news junkie.
Really?
I'm a news junkie.
Oh, me too.
I check every 5. I even have like every app. I check both sides.
What do you think's the draw to that? What do you like? Why do you check it?
I'm almost kind of just like, you know, here I am in this moment in time.
Right.
I want to be part of it.
Yeah, that's what I think. You know, like sometimes I'll catch flack for watching tons of TV shows or movies and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like there's a real value there. Because, like, you know, you meet the average person and you can immediately connect with somebody by talking about a show, a movie, a radio show, a book, or anything. Yeah. And then, like, from there, you could develop this whole thing. Like, it's almost like that all those art forms are really the lifeblood of social culture. It's almost kind of sad, but it's so true. Yeah. And like you don't want to think that fucking, you know, some WB show or or a brilliant HBO show or some random fucking superhero movie has impact, but it does. Yes. In like a major way.
Some people, I mean, like you talk to top CEOs, they're like, like nobody said this yet, but they're like, Thanos, man. He was the reason I became a CEO. Right. What? Did you just say that?
Right. We're going to get to the point one day where that's probably going to be a fucking thing. Like,
but, like one year, my last year of law school, you know, the way they say that is the first year they work you to death.
Man, I got to be honest with you. I didn't know it until later because I went to Rutgers, right? And I just I did environmental business. Yeah. I was like, okay, I was just coasting along. I didn't really know what the hell was going on. And in college, I discovered documentaries. Like I watched the first Zeitgeist movie, and like we went through the 2008 financial crisis, and like all this shit was happening. Then I found all these other movies and books, and like that's where I really grew up and like learned things. Yeah. That's where I started smoking and like experimenting with psychedelics, and you know, you take that with you wherever you go, and it just changes everything. But oh fuck, what was I gonna say? Shit.
That's probably part of that smoking and psychedelics.
Yeah, it happens though.
No, I'm just kidding, man. I totally understand. I just did the same thing earlier.
Yeah.
But you know, like, and what I was gonna say, in the last year of my law school.
School. That's what I was gonna. I always wanted to go to law school. I went to school for environmental business, and I didn't realize until later, after I had experimented and been at college already, like, oh man, law really seems like a fucking cool thing. A lot of my favorite shows are law shows. Like I really like Boston Legal and James Spader and stuff. Like I have been really, like most of my favorite shows are legal shows. Like I like the process and like how they argue in the American Senate, and it affects the news and laws and stuff like that. Like the whole idea of it is like very grand to me. It is awesome that you made it through law school. Like, but you went into the military instead.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So in your last year, you were saying of law school.
Oh well, my last year, they say they bore you to death. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of time on my hands, so I sat down and I watched the list of top 100 movies.
Yeah, from IMDb?
Yeah,
the top 250.
I watched all 100.
Oh, nice, okay.
And I had never seen The Godfather before.
Wow.
It blew my mind. I watched all 3 of them, and people don't like the third one, I get that, but like when you're just sitting down and you've never even heard of The Godfather and you're watching
when you watch it all the way
like,
through,
whoa.
It's quite the masterpiece. It's fucking
it really
nuts.
is.
Yeah, I actually went to I think Francis Ford Coppola directed the first Godfather.
Correct.
And I went to his winery in California, and they had like a museum there with all his other movies and stuff. Very cool. Yeah. Wow, you watched 100 of them? There's some movies on there that are not easy to watch, in my opinion.
There were some movies
like some 1930s and 40s movies, right?
People are going to hate me, but like Citizen Kane, I get it. It was a big thing at its time, but...
It's fascinating. It's an interesting watch, but I couldn't watch it again, and I don't, like... It definitely didn't have an impact on me like it would have if I was older.
Correct,
You know, like there's a clear dating thing going on there. And I bet you... a lot of the movies that, like, Tarantino is a huge film buff, obviously. But he watches some weird shit, like those old Grindhouse movies and fucking stuff like that. Like, there's eclectic shit out there. There's a large fucking variety of stuff.
Well, I would love to have, someday my books turn into a movie and it just be like, just.
They sound
like
movie-esque.
That's what I'm going for, yeah.
Yeah, right? That's the dream, right?
Yeah,
make it onto the big screen. Like Stephen King, some of his, not a lot. I would say a lot of them are really good, actually. Like the movies,
like some of them are literally in the best top 10 movies of all time. Like The Shining. Yeah. But some of them are like, what the hell
fucking
was
TV
going on?
movie nonsense. Like, what were you?
Tommy Knockers. Like, what the fuck?
So weird. But and then there are some that are cult classics, like Maximum Overdrive, the truck movie with Emilio Estevez.
Wait, who was that? Who did that one?
Stephen King.
Stephen King. Yeah. Maximum Overdrive.
I'm pretty sure he was involved with that, because I remember reading some article about him, and he said he was on coke the whole time during filming.
I bet he was, yeah.
I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That movie was pretty trashy, man.
Yeah, that's he did that what's that Schwarzenegger movie where he's in prison and he has to beat all those bad guys to stay alive?
Stallone?
No, Schwarzenegger. It's a Stephen King movie.
Oh, The Running Man.
Yeah, that was
a good movie. Yeah, and it was a ridiculous fucking concept.
Yes.
Like, it's so good though. Yeah, man, I forgot that was a Stephen King movie. He does like such eclectic shit too. Like he has do you feel like you have a wide range of genre underneath you?
Yeah,
like, could you write for anything?
My next book, I'm trying to do a sci-fi romance movie.
Okay.
Or book called The Intelligently Graceful Dreams of a Quantum Computer. And I wanted to be like a guy who loses his wife. He never goes to the funeral to witness the death of his wife, like to see her actually laying in the grave.
Yeah.
And he gets his purple light shining in his window one night, and it turns out it's some kind of future quantum computer that can generate possibilities based on your perception, almost like the law of attraction, like what we were talking about. If you believe something is true, you can create it in your reality, and this quantum computer allows you to do that. So he believes my wife never died. She comes back to life. And then maybe at the end he's presented with the idea of like, should I dig up her grave, and if I see her there, she no longer exists in reality? But if I dig up her grave and she's not there, then maybe she does exist in reality.
I like that. That toys with reality perception. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, for sci-fi, and also the research involved with that's pretty fucking deep.
Yeah, no, I had to learn about quantum computers to write this book and explain to a layperson like how it works.
Right. Yeah. So if quantum computing is a thing, that changes our entire world.
And like the double slit experiment. You've heard of that?
Light, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really fascinating to learn about.
The science documentaries are some of my all-time favorites. Like learning about deep physics and like the nature of reality and stuff. And recently I've been really into Tesla.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that on show or two ago.
His show's good. That guy Jason Stapleton, he's a libertarian. Great podcast to listen to. As far as being a news junkie, there are certain podcasts that I listen to that really succinctly put all the news together in one spot, and it's fucking awesome. I don't just use them, but there are some really good fucking hosts out there that are not mainstream. Yeah, and it's so weird to me that there's all this influx of information around people, and yet most people seem fairly uninformed all the time. Yeah, like, how scary is that? Yeah. It's nuts. Like,
it is crazy.
But so, anyway, what?
Got about like 2 minutes left.
Okay. So yeah, that guy doing the Tesla show, that show is going really well. They're like finding new shit. I just watched the new episode today before I came in. I downloaded it illegally, allegedly.
Yeah.
So,
Neil, do you have any information on the demonic virtue?
So the demonic virtue, I'm setting to come out with it this fall, and
no images yet. Right.
I've got a Facebook business page right now that you can follow, and there's 2 images on there, but I've not officially created a cover page for the book yet. I would like to do some of my own illustrations because I draw, but
I feel like the author is always the best option for that. Because they always have a frame of reference in their mind that they want to see on the cover, and I feel like that's almost the most honest representation of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to judge a book by a cover, it should be by the author at least.
Yeah. I've got a picture in my mind of, you know, him. This doesn't even happen in the book, but him sitting somewhere far away, like on the moon, just looking down on the world. And man, that book was awesome to write, just to learn at the same time about how history unfolded, and then even go into the future and predict about how things, like, you know, one of the last things I mentioned is Sophia. It's this robot that is actually, it became the first citizen in any country.
Yes.
A robot.
We covered her on one of the shows.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We talked about her.
Yeah, and I mentioned her in this book. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Like it's the last like jumping line into the future where I say, okay, boom, this happened.
And then it goes off from there.
Yeah.
It is. There's little points like that in history that I feel like we've witnessed in our lifetimes that it's just like, whoa, okay, now things have really taken a turn.
Yeah. Things are going to get crazy.
Yeah. So, well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man, this has been a blast. Thanks.
Yeah. Dude, your ideas for books sound fucking awesome. So I hope you keep doing what you're doing. And
cool.
Thank you, people, for listening to Mission Accomplished #9. All right. Later.